With this kind of money you girls make and you say you want to quit hookup job, let me hear any of you say that again.
Mama, stop using us for your selfish greed. I'm tired of this job. My body is tired.
The night dragged on slowly at Eke Junction. Music blasted from the bars. Drunken laughter echoed across the street. Car headlights flashed endlessly as men stopped, negotiated, and drove off into the darkness. But for the three sisters, nothing felt the same anymore. Not after what they had just heard. Chinelo stood near a parked car, holding the small card Chifokafo had given her. Her fingers tightened around it. Her mind was racing. Your mother told you a lie. Those words refused to leave her head. A man approached her, trying to get her attention. "Fine girl, how much for the night?" he asked casually. Chinelo didn't respond immediately. Her thoughts were far away. "Madam, I'm talking to you," the man said again, slightly annoyed. Before Chinelo could answer, Nkiru stepped in sharply. "She's not available," Nkiru said, pulling her sister away. The man hissed and walked off. Nkiru turned to Chinelo, her eyes burning. "What is wrong with you?" she demanded. Chinelo slowly showed her the card. "I think we need to find out the truth." Somtom moved closer, her voice trembling. "What if it's another problem?" she whispered. "What if things get worse?" Nkiru scoffed bitterly. "Worse than this?" she said, gesturing around the street. Around them, other women laughed loudly with strangers. A fight broke out in front of one of the bars. A drunk man staggered across the road. "This place has already destroyed us," Nkiru continued. "I want to know why." Chinelo looked at both of them. Then she nodded. "Tomorrow," she said quietly, "we go and see him." Back at the compound, the night was no longer peaceful. Mama Ngozi could not sleep. She paced around her small room, her wrapper dragging slightly on the floor. Something was wrong. She could feel it. Her instincts, the same instincts that had guided her for years, were warning her. She stopped suddenly and looked toward the window. Memories she had buried long ago began to rise. A younger version of herself, a different life, a man's face, a child's cry. She shook her head violently. "No, it's over," she muttered to herself. "That life is gone." But deep down, she knew it wasn't. The next morning, the compound came alive with its usual noise. Women sweeping, children running around, men preparing to leave for work. But inside Mama Ngozi's house, the atmosphere was different. The three sisters returned home just after sunrise. Their faces looked more serious than usual. Mama Ngozi was already waiting for them, seated, watching, silent. The moment they stepped inside, her eyes locked onto them. "Where did you people sleep?" she asked coldly. Chinelo replied carefully. "We came back late." Mama Ngozi stood up slowly. Her gaze moved from one daughter to another. Something about them had changed. She could see it. "You people are hiding something," she said. No one answered. The silence made her angrier. Before she could speak again, Nkiru walked past her without a word. That had never happened before. Mama Ngozi turned sharply. "Nkiru!" But Nkiru didn't stop. Somto quietly followed behind. Chinelo remained standing. For a brief moment, mother and daughter locked eyes. And in that moment, Mama Ngozi felt it. Control slipping. "Why are you going?" she demanded. Chinelo took a deep breath. "Empt," she said simply. "Empt where?" Mama Ngozi snapped. Chinelo hesitated for a second. Then she spoke. "We are going to find out the truth." The room went completely still. Mama Ngozi's heart skipped. "What truth?" she asked slowly. Chinelo's voice was calm but firm. "The truth about you." That was the moment everything changed. Mama Ngozi's face hardened instantly. "Who has been talking to you?" she demanded. But Chinelo didn't answer. Instead, she turned and walked toward the door. Mama Ngozi rushed forward and grabbed her arm tightly. "You will not leave this house," she shouted. Chinelo gently removed her hand. "For the first time in our lives, Mama," she said quietly, "we are choosing ourselves." Then she walked out. Somto followed. Nkiru didn't even look back. The door closed behind them. Mama Ngozi stood frozen in the middle of the room. Her breathing became heavy. Fear slowly crept into her chest because she knew exactly where they were going. And if they found out the truth, everything she had built with lies, control, and greed would come crashing down. A few hours later, the three sisters stood in front of a large compound in town. Clean, quiet, nothing like the life they were used to. Chinelo looked at the card again, then at the gate. Her heart pounded heavily. "Are we ready?" Somto asked softly. Nkiru nodded. No turning back. Chinelo took a deep breath and knocked on the gate. Moments later, it opened. A gatekeeper stepped aside. "Chief is expecting you." The sisters exchanged nervous glances. Then slowly, they stepped inside. And as the gate closed behind them, they had no idea that the truth waiting inside that house would not only expose their mother's past, but also reveal a secret about their own identity. The compound was quiet. Too quiet. As the gate closed behind them, the three sisters felt something they had never felt before. Peace. No shouting, no pressure, no fear. Just silence. A young maid led them into a large sitting room. Everything inside looked neat and expensive. Soft chairs, clean floors, family portraits on the wall. Chinelo's eyes moved slowly across the room, then suddenly stopped. One of the framed pictures caught her attention. Her heart skipped. She stepped closer. The picture showed a younger woman, smiling beside a man. The woman looked exactly like Mama Ngozi, but she looked different too. Happier, cleaner, alive in a way they had never seen before. And beside her was Chief Okafor. "You've seen it." The voice came from behind them. They turned. Chief Okafor walked slowly into the room. His face was calm, but his eyes carried years of pain. "That was your mother," he said quietly. Silence filled the room. Somto swallowed hard. "So, it's true?" she asked. Chief Okafor nodded slowly. "Yes." The sisters sat down slowly, their hearts heavy. Chinelo spoke first. "Please, tell us everything." Chief Okafor took a deep breath and sat opposite them. "Many years ago," he began, "your mother was not the woman you know today." He looked toward the picture. She was kind, loving, full of dreams. His voice softened. "We were married and we were happy." The sisters listened carefully. Then his expression changed. But everything changed when money became her obsession. Nkiro frowned slightly. "What do you mean?" Chief Okafor leaned forward. "She wanted more money, more status, more power." He shook his head slowly. "No matter how much I gave her, it was never enough." Chinelo's chest tightened. That sounded too familiar. "One day," he continued, "I traveled for business. When I came back," he paused. His jaw tightened. She was gone. The sisters held their breath. "She left with all the money in the house," he said. "And..." He stopped again. His eyes slowly lifted to meet Chineli's. "And I took my first child." The room froze. Chinelo's heart pounded loudly in her ears. "What?" she whispered. Chief Okafor's voice dropped. "That child was you." Everything went silent. Somto gasped. Nkiru's eyes widened in shock. Chinelo shook her head slowly. No, that's not possible." But deep down, something inside her reacted. Something she couldn't explain. Chief Okafor continued. "You were just a baby when she ran away." He looked at her carefully. I searched for both of you for years. Tears filled Chinelo's eyes. Then, what about my sisters? She asked, her voice shaking. Chief Okafor sighed. I believe she had them later, after she disappeared. The sisters looked at each other, overwhelmed. So, all this time, Nkiru said slowly, she lied to us. Chief Okafor nodded. Yes. And what she turned you into, his voice hardened, is something no mother should ever do. Tears rolled down Somto's cheeks. Chinelo sat still, completely broken inside. Everything she thought she knew about her life had just changed. But before anyone could speak again, a loud knock came from the gate. Everyone turned. Chief Okafor frowned. I wasn't expecting anyone. Moments later, the gate burst open. Heavy footsteps rushed into the compound. And then, Mama Ngozi stormed into the sitting room. Her face was filled with anger and fear. Her eyes locked onto her daughters, then shifted on Chief Okafor. For a moment, nobody spoke. The past and present had finally collided, and there was no escaping it anymore.
The silence in the room was suffocating. Mama Ngozi's chest rose and fell heavily as she looked around. Her secret had been exposed. You, she said, pointing at Chief Okafor. You finally found them. Chief Okafor stood up slowly. I never stopped looking. Mama Ngozi let out a bitter laugh. After all these years, her eyes shifted to Chinelo. You went behind my back? She snapped. But this time, Chinelo didn't look afraid. She stood up slowly. No, Mama, she said calmly. We went to find the truth. Mama Ngozi's expression hardened. I am your truth, she shouted. I am your mother. Nkiru stepped forward, anger burning in her eyes. A mother does not sell her children to the streets. Her voice echoed across the room. Mama Ngozi flinched slightly, but quickly regained her composure. I did what I had to do to survive, she fired back. To survive, Somto cried with tears in her eyes, or to satisfy your greed. Mama Ngozi's face tightened. You ungrateful children. Enough! Chief Okafor's voice thundered. Everyone went silent. He stepped closer, his eyes locked on Mama Ngozi. You didn't just destroy your life, he said. You destroyed theirs too. Mama Ngozi's confidence began to crack. For the first time, she had no control. Chinelo stepped forward slowly. Tears filled her eyes, but her voice remained steady. You stole me from my father, she said. You lied to us, and worst of all, her voice broke slightly. You forced us into a life we never chose. Mama Ngozi's lips trembled, but no words came out. The weight of her actions had finally caught up with her. Nkiru shook her head. We are done, Mama. Somto nodded through tears. We are choosing a different life. Mama Ngozi's eyes widened in panic. You cannot leave me, she shouted. I am your mother. Chinelo looked at her one last time. There was no anger left, only pain. Being our mother was a privilege, she said softly, not a right to destroy us. Silence fell, deep, final. Then slowly, the three sisters turned and walked away. Not to the streets, not back to the life they were forced into, but towards something new, something unknown, something better. Chief Okafor watched them with heavy emotions, years of loss, finally finding their way back. Behind them, Mama Ngozi collapsed into a chair, alone, surrounded by money that suddenly meant nothing, because in the end, her greed had cost her everything.
Greed can destroy even the strongest bonds. A parent's duty is to protect, not exploit. Greed can destroy a family, and not every parent deserves to be called one. And no matter how dark the past is, the truth always finds its way to the light.
Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate your time and support. Don't forget to follow and subscribe for more emotional stories like this.